Reducing early school dropout rates is an important social issue. Students that are able to complete their mandatory education have increased opportunities to support their communities and local economies. Unfortunately, this is a problem that is prevalent in many countries, El Salvador included. In 2011, 167,000 Salvadorian students entered the first grade. By the time they reached the sixth grade, 48% of these students dropped out. By the time they reached the 10th grade, 76% of the original cohort of students were no longer in school. Clearly, the government of El Salvador would like to reduce this number so that many students have the opportunity to receive the potential benefits of a higher education. This summer, the Ministry of Education in El Salvador has partnered with dssg with a shared goal in mind: reduce early school dropout rates in El Salvador. We've been working with the Director of Research in Science, Innovation, and Technology, who will be collaborating with the Director of Social Programs and Prevention. Together, they'll implement and validate the interventions my team and I have created this summer. We anticipate two outputs. One, a list of schools that have a high proportion of students that are at risk of dropping out. And two, a list of factors that explain why those students are at risk. We also plan on building a framework that allows the Ministry of Education to use data science methods in the analysis they're already doing today. As anyone that is not native to the context of the problem they're solving, it was important for us to do our due diligence. What was El Salvador doing today? Quite a lot, actually. With a budget of $111 million, the Ministry of Education has implemented many social programs. Some include providing school supplies and uniforms to the students, providing free breakfast, as well as alternative school routes such as night school and online school for students that find that the traditional route just isn't for them. So how are they doing this? Using information provided by principals, survey information provided by principals at the school level, the Ministry of Education today is using a top-down approach. They apply social programs to the schools, and the schools then provide access to the students. With this in mind, our team wanted to explore an alternative route, a bottom-up approach. Can we identify the students that are at risk of dropping out, and then apply specialized social programs to the schools that they're attending? To do this, we needed data, and we got a lot of it. But the two sources that we wanted to focus on were the student data and the school data. The student data is registration of all the schools in the whole country between 2009 and 2017. This registration data had a unique identifier so that we were able to track students across years as well as across schools and regions. The school data was the surveys that the principals filled out, general information about the schools such as the location as well as the infrastructure. We then created features or attributes about the schools and the students that were in our data. The features are not only important for the predictive power of our model, but also to analyze which factors contribute to why the students are dropping out in the next year. We then created our model. We want to predict whether a student is at risk of dropping out in the next year. We then look at the features that have the highest predictive power. These features will drive the analysis to explain which factors are most important for contributing to students dropping out. And what did we learn? In 2016, 273,000 students were at risk of dropping out. Using the top-down approach, the Ministry of Education is able to reach 23% of these students. Using our bottom-up approach, we were able to reach 58% of students that are at risk of dropping out, which means we were able to identify 60,000 additional students that are at risk of dropping out within the next year. The framework that we built will allow the Ministry of Education to adjust for the percentage of the student population they would like to focus on, as well as have resources for. This framework will provide them with a list of schools with a high proportion of students that are at risk of dropping out in the next year. It would also provide the list of factors that explain why these students are at risk of dropping out. In the end, we're hoping that this framework will spark meaningful conversation within the ministry to use the really rich data they already have in the policy decision-making process. We're looking forward to seeing how our interventions affect the student dropout rate in the next coming years. Thank you.